Steam is massive.
Counter-Strike took the world by storm.
The way games are released online completely changed.
The games have become monumental and have pushed the bar for what PC games should be.
In fact, it's the largest digital distributor in the world.
More than 1.5 billion games sold on the platform by 2014.
The fledgling studio known as Valve set out to create a game that would push the perceived boundaries of not only first-person shooters, but of video games in general.
Half-Life was released on November 18, 1998, to an overwhelmingly positive reception from developers, critics, and gamers alike.
Half-Life is one of the most influential and groundbreaking FPS games ever made.
At the time, this game was revolutionary.
Half-Life is without a doubt a game that would forever change the first-person shooter genre and set a new height for the industry within the genre itself.
Half-Life signaled a clear shift in first-person game design, moving away from Doom and Quake clones and defining many of the mechanics still used today.
The game would later receive 2 expansion packs in the form of Half-Life Opposing Force in 1999 and Half-Life Blue Shift in 2001.
Earning more than 50 Game of the Year awards and selling nearly 10 million copies by 2009.
Team Fortress Classic would release worldwide on April 7th, 1999 as a free add-on for Half-Life and arguably helped revolutionize the first-person shooter genre.
Team Fortress was a popular Quake mod, ported over to Half-Life at Valve's request.
It provided the strongest team-based gameplay that Valve had to offer.
And after it was first a mod for Half-Life, Valve reached out to the modders and hired them to make the fully fledged game Counter-Strike.
Counter-Strike is a first-person shooter developed initially as a mod for the original Half-Life. Counter-Strike undoubtedly helped launch competitive gaming to where it is today,
and continues to sell out stadiums and bring players in 20 years after its release.
With dozens of major tournaments and hundreds of amateur events that took place all around the world over the span of 12 years.
September 11th of 2003, that Steam would be fully released, making its use mandatory in order to play the popular game Counter-Strike 1.6.
Now, Steam also had loads of little bugs and glitches that made it pretty unplayable half the time, and it just looked ugly with a horrible green UI.
However, Steam was not a big hit with fans of Valve, as it required online authentication and also felt like they were trying to monopolize on the PC gaming market.
When Steam came out, it was an absolute flop.
Half-Life 2 was a good-ass game.
On the 16th of November 2004, Half-Life 2 was officially released to Steam, making this Steam's first exclusive game.
The impact this game has had, both on myself and on the gaming industry in general, has been profound.
It even won 39 Game of the Year awards.
Valve used this opportunity to promote Steam,
Half-Life 2 required you to log into Steam and download it through Steam,
skyrocketing the popularity of Steam significantly in the process.
If they wanted to play Half-Life 2, they would have to go through Steam first.
With this, the platform began taking off.
What's gonna happen to the next one?
There's not a next one. They didn't make a next one.
They also went on to release 2 brand new titles under the collection game title The Orange Box.
The Orange Box was a collection of 5 games for the price of 1.
A bundle containing Half-Life 2 and its 2 episodes, the long-awaited Team Fortress 2, and a new interesting game named Portal. Portal, released to commercial and critical success,
Was one of the most innovative big-budget titles of the decade.
it is held as one of the best video games ever made.
A first-person shooter puzzler that completely changes the way you think about space.
The game went on to be labelled as one of the most innovative games out there with hours of unique gameplay.
Some even say it's a timeless masterpiece.
TF2 is a great example of how to create not only a game, but an atmosphere.
Team Fortress 2 had a brand new cartoon art style and really defined selectable characters.
This game has a very distinct identity.
TF2 becoming one of the biggest multiplayer games during those years.
I think that the game has had a lasting impact on the games industry as a whole.
The compilation was a smash hit, with a little something for everybody.
After Orange Box, we have to get episode 3 out. We know how the trilogy ends, and there are a bunch of loose ends and narrative arcs that need to come to a conclusion in episode 3.
Released on November 17th, 2008,
Left 4 Dead was a success. critically and commercially, selling over 600,000 units in less than a month on the 360 alone.
Left 4 Dead will be remembered for years to come.
Valve's biggest contribution to the release was financing a marketing campaign worth $10 million in both the US and Europe, and had the game advertising in all forms of media.
Everything in Left 4 Dead is dedicated to keeping the players engaged through peaks of highly intensive dramatic moments, rejuvenated the co-op shooter genre. The gaming industry needed Left 4 Dead.
And many critical outlets scoring the game in the high 8s and 9s, and for many was the best multiplayer game of 2008.
Oh my god, dude, you're kidding me!
Left 4 Dead 2 released exactly 1 year after the original game.
Devout fans of Left 4 Dead 1 took to the Steam forums and established the Steam community group Left 4 Dead 2 Boycott.
Critically and sales-wise, the game absolutely killed it.
Over 10,000 people joined. By the end of June, 37,000 people were gathering in a rallying cry to denounce this senseless cash grab by Valve that broke their promise of new free content updates for the first game.
EA.
Now it was all behind a $60 paywall.
But Left 4 Dead 2 is the complete Left 4 Dead experience.
It was supposed to be free.
But the real achievement for the Left 4 Dead series is its impact on the zombies genre.
Left 4 Dead 2 and its predecessor Left 4 Dead have become gaming icons and staples on how to make games involving the horror genre.
Portal 2 was released on the 18th of April 2011.
Valve's Portal 2 is a game everyone should play.
And this time had a much bigger focus on story.
It's a brilliantly designed game.
And it just helped Portal to become another flagship series for Valve.
Counter-Strike Global Offensive released in 2012 and was made by Valve, the founders of Steam.
Valve went on to release their most popular version of Counter-Strike, Counter-Strike Global Offensive, also known as CSGO.
It currently has millions of active players.
Dota 2 was eventually released on the 9th of July 2013 and became the real competitor to League of Legends.
Very few games are able to withstand so many emotionally charged discussions about tips, tactics, and tribulations.
Dota 2's esports tournament became the first tournament to have a prize pool of $1 million.
Valve is displaying a commitment to quality rather than arbitrarily locking key elements away.
Since then, esports has seen a massive increase in sponsorship. But unfortunately, during the release trailer, fans were heavily disappointed at the announcement of their new game. Artifact was not exactly what fans were looking for, and in fact put a lot of people off.
The main thing that we're working on right now after we get the orange box out the door is going to be episode 3.
Dota was once again the focus for Valve.
I got a better idea. How about doing anything but that?
What the hell happened to Half-Life 3?
Most people assumed it was going to be Half-Life 3, but sadly we were a bit disappointed when it was a spin-off titled Half-Life Alyx.
Almost 13 years after the release of Half-Life Episode 2, we finally get to return to City 17.
It made good on its shift to VR.
But aside from the new VR perspective, Alyx feels very much like a traditional Half-Life game,
elevating many of the aspects we've come to love about the series.
And the question on everybody's lips is, was it worth the wait?
I will now ask you the world's shortest question ever, Half-Life 2 Episode 3. Thank you.